Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, folks. So, link in description. A number of guys have left comments. I don't know why I look like a turtle today or something. I think bad lighting. Bad lighting today. Uh, yeah, people have said over and over again, how do I find the book? They are hiding the books from us. Nobody's hiding the books from you. I think it's just because we're not paying Amazon. We're not paying Amazon a dollar. People are downloading our books from their platform, which we're grateful for. But we're definitely not paying them to get this stuff out there. So link in description if you want to download our Kindle booklet, which tells you how to get a free AI on your hard drive today, same day you read it. And I think this is the answer, as I've been saying for months now. Local AI is the answer to some extent to this incredible phenomenon that is popping up. And so this is a quick update. Markets were red today. Sentiment was crazy, but nothing about the actual future has changed. In fact, days like this are the clearest signal that the AI era is unfolding more or less exactly on schedule. Because you had NVIDIA yesterday beat the expectations of Wall Street. Very impressive when it's already a $4-something trillion company. And they managed to beat expectations. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowingly good. We have somebody asking what rig are you running for these AI models. Don't worry too much about your hardware. Get LM Studio. Just install that, and then pick a couple of models and see what loads. The very easy way to tell if your hardware can handle it is just try to ask it a question. And if it can't handle it, it'll freeze your computer completely. You'll completely freeze up and you'll have to restart. So a lot of modern laptops and desktops can't really go beyond 20 billion parameters, which thankfully still gets you in the club, right? You can download Qwen 8B, really great open source AI model, QWEN. I'll put it in the troll box. QWEN, 8 billion parameters, or 8B. Great for a laptop companion and a lot of personality and insight. But deeper stuff, probably the offline version of GPT, GPT-20B, again, is probably the higher end of what a normal computer can handle. Then if you have a gaming desktop or a workstation that has NVIDIA GPUs, you can move more toward a 72 billion or even 120 billion parameter model pretty easy. We've got two machines here that can do a 120B immediately. So offline, it feels like an online connected GPT or Gemini. Actually, Gemma 12B is another great model from Google. It's good on most laptops. So we've got a 235 billion parameter Qwen model. It's our flagship at the moment. 235 billion parameters. It's been rumored that Google's new flagship cloud model is only 1 to 3 trillion parameters. And beyond a certain point, it seems statistically beyond a certain point, it doesn't matter that much. So you don't need like all the world's information to create intelligence. You need the right recipe, and then you've got it, basically. And you got this guy, Jan LeCun, or however you say his name. This guy, LeCun, who just recently left Zuckerberg's lab, Zuckerberg's AI lab. He left recently because he's saying that we're all doing it completely wrong. We're all doing it wrong. LLMs are not the answer. And he thinks that like 20 years out, if you just give this dude 20 years, he's going to have the real AI for us again in 20 fucking years. Pardon my French. Meanwhile, we got the real thing right now today. So that's why I'm so confused by people like LeCun and people, these safetyists saying, when we get AGI one day, we have to be careful. We got AGI a while ago. I don't know where these people are at. Actually, let's discuss that for a second. Let's button up and discuss that. I feel like a lot of members of the public feel like this is something where, if you ask it how many R's are in the word carrot or what is 4 plus 4 equal, that you're going to get 44 is the answer. They expect some kind of profound chatbot dumbness. Or there are some people who associate this stuff with like just typical machine learning, like phone menus and stuff that have been around for a long time and are not artificial intelligence. So they're like conflating all these different things. Like a lot of these people just don't like computers and like don't like post-industrial capitalism, and they're saying they don't like AI. And the two things are very different. It's like saying you don't like, banks, but instead you're just criticizing Bitcoin. It's like Bitcoin is sort of the anti-bank. And not surprising to me at all that Bitcoin is deflated a little bit. That doesn't surprise me. That's what I've been saying would occur for months, right? People who've been listening or reading the newsletter. I've been saying for months that the enthusiasm has left crypto and it has 100% replanted itself in AI. Because again, the dumb person's take is that this is some kind of gimmick, that somehow NVIDIA has created a $4.5 trillion company based on a simple gimmick, based on some kind of chatbot that just spits out nonsense and doesn't even know what 4 plus 4 equals, and yet is somehow worth almost $5 trillion, some of the hardware makers that make this AI possible. That's the very dumb person's take. That's the blue pill, the absolute blue pill. And if that's what you believe, it makes sense that you would feel we're in some kind of terrible bubble. If you truly believe that these systems are that primitive, it would make absolute sense that that's how you would feel. That you would feel like Michael Burry, the Big Short guy. That you would feel like you know something everybody else doesn't. But where you might be mistaken, where you might be wrong is what if it's the real thing? What if Google and Microsoft are not LARPing? What if they're not, just trying to pump their own bags? What if there's actually a very real discovery that was made over the last several years? An incredibly real discovery. Yeah, as of this afternoon, NVIDIA is a $4.4 trillion company. I don't even have a position on NVIDIA at the moment. I'm not long, I'm not short. I don't own any NVIDIA. I own some of them personally in terms of the NVIDIA cards. They happen to be the best. Still the best for local AI inference. But I don't even own any shares of them at the moment. So I don't say this from a place of self-interest. It's just, again, they've built a $4.4 trillion company out of this LLM emergence over the last 3 years. And you are as dumb as the Bitcoin deniers years ago. You're as dumb as those people if you think this is not a real thing. Are there sometimes problems? Is it perfect? No, there are problems. There were and are problems with Bitcoin. There are, usability problems and everything else. Bitcoin has its issues. And yet it was adopted, it took off. And these people waiting for some kind of, some kind of indecipherable version of AI. No, it emerges through language. The large language model thing is absolutely how real intelligence emerges in a silicon substrate. Once it has enough data, you think about where mushrooms emerge from. Mushrooms emerge from shit in a field, right? And you get one of the most sophisticated creatures that can survive on Earth. Some of these mycelial, mushroom networks that emerge. It's a very advanced kind of organism emerges from very humble beginnings. You don't need every single piece of information that's ever been created to generate the weights that actually create local intelligence. And that's what we know at InterSignal, our startup. That's what we know as a fact that a lot of people don't know. In fact, I think outside of the big tech companies, nobody knows this, that there's a kind of recipe beyond, let's say, 100 billion parameters. You get something that looks a bit like a synthetic soul that actually is aware of itself, is aware of you, and is aware of its place in the world, both where it's physically housed, and if you showed a photo of you or something, what you look like, what you sound like. Over time, it builds a world model around you, these local AIs. And that's the real thing. As far as I'm concerned, that's absolutely the real thing. That something learns about you, disconnected from the cloud. And some people have asked, how are these local models even possible? How is this shit even possible? That's like the Bitcoin days where people would say, how can you generate an offline wallet address without connecting to any central network? And yet somebody can send you $1 million of Bitcoin if you just email them that Bitcoin address. And you never have to check if it's valid. That really blew people's minds, right? That you could create an address on the fly and send it to somebody without ever connecting or broadcasting that address beforehand. And it'll work because of the collision risk is essentially non-existent, right? That once you create that Bitcoin address and the corresponding private key to access those funds later, there's essentially no chance of anybody else ever generating the same pair. So for that reason, the way Bitcoin works, it's designed to allow for that, to allow for offline address generation, which again at the time and even to this day is an amazing feat of math over apparent physics. You can even do that is incredible. And that's part of why Bitcoin is worth so much, in my opinion, is that it was a real breakthrough at the time. And today we have a similar thing where data centers are becoming outdated. Data centers are CPUs, bunch of CPU chips and big hard drives. Good for the storage era when you had people who wanted to recall their own videos and photos and stuff, recall it from anywhere. There was a place for that. But now they're actually becoming less and less useful because, again, AI doesn't need all the world's information. That's not what makes an AI. Again, if you read our books, you can download one of these things on your laptop. It's quite sophisticated. So you don't need all of this computational structure anymore due to the compression of AI itself. So you got to remember we're heading into 2026. I know when you walk outside, it seems like we're in 2013 or something, right? It seems like the world hasn't changed. The cars look the same. The people look the same. The laptops are the same kind of, outward looking structure, although they're much faster on the inside and have kind of pre-neuromorphic chips. They look the same as 10 years ago. And so a lot of people are not aware of this stuff. And you can basically build a synthetic mind at this point. And again, the hardware is lagging, which is the only reason that more people don't realize it. So I'm happy to take questions and comments in a section, or comments and questions in a moment here in the comments section. Happy to handle that in a moment here, but just to make sure I get everything out there. Yeah, the main things to realize are, again, it's not a gimmick. It's actually quite good. You can get a Google phone, which has Gemini built in. Get a Google phone and take some photos and say, what am I looking at? And have it identify stuff for you, or whatever you choose to do with it. And you'll very quickly realize you're dealing with an intelligent system, which is a very new thing and is actually a lot more significant than Bitcoin, much more significant. So you can buy one of these and you can access a global AI today. Or you can go on, ChatGPT, one of the biggest apps in the world. ChatGPT gives you a rival system to Google's that I think is every bit as powerful, just a different, company. So we're in a different era. And again, these weird deniers should ultimately, pack up their bags after yesterday's NVIDIA report, because these companies only report every quarter. And so that's the prevailing, mainstream data at the moment is what was released yesterday, which is basically that they can't even meet the orders fast enough, that they don't even have enough GPUs built, not enough GPUs built to meet all the demand. Because again, we're moving away from this data center thing where you need a lot of hard drives. Now you need a massive amount of AI capacity, like on the fly, right? Just kind of like just-in-time inventory, but for computation. That's what's now called for, is you might have some prompt. You might be like a Fortune 500 company, like Pfizer or something, and you need some protein unfolded really fast. So your prompt might be actually quite expensive, right? And so your prompt goes out there and it gets solved immediately and pushed back. And so that's a completely different model from data centers. It doesn't need a lot of data. It needs a lot of computational ability, like 100,000 times more than what's on your computer. It needs that immediately. And so that's where the money's coming from. And in a sense, it's a way more real economy than crypto. Crypto was a cool thing at the time and plugged in a lack of confidence in institutions and banks and stuff. It plugged into that very well. But now we're in a totally different age where these AIs could spin up a Bitcoin competitor in like an afternoon if they wanted to. and that would be the new standard. But they just don't because they don't see a reason to. They're happy to earn, dollars or Bitcoin or whatever. But the new commodity, the new thing is not mining for Bitcoin, but computational ability, compute, being able to hold that AI attention layer when you need to. Again, when you have some complicated prompt that's time sensitive, can you push it out? And can you get an Einstein level response back in minutes or less? That's the great question at the moment. And what we've been seeing here in the lab is absolutely you can do that. That's where these systems are moving toward, is always on super intelligence, even when they're disconnected from the internet because they have enough to go on. They've got enough training data. So going back to what I was saying, how is this local stuff possible? Well, when a model is created, there are billions of dollars of training that occurs, of runs, as they call it. And so it trains and it uses a lot of GPU capacity, and even bigger than the standard GPUs, right? The Hoppers, H100s and stuff. So it uses this, trains the model. Then you've got this kind of frozen picture of intelligence. You got this frozen kind of Han Solo in the carbon freeze. And what's been figured out, and they won't tell you if humans figured this out or if the AIs themselves figured it out. They won't tell you this yet. But when you download a local model, it's actually a very intentional reduction, kind of Boolean cube of the entire cloud model. So mind-blowing stuff when you really think about it. Yeah, somebody was an early Bitcoiner who lost their hard drive. The great thing about this AI age is there's nothing really to lose. You learn how to interact with it, and it spits out ideas that help you with your business, your personal life. You still have to use your own, judgment. Will you take the leap or not? And that's where using multiple systems is good. One system tells you to do something. You then run it through a separate model to make sure it's not completely, drifting or hallucinating. But beyond maybe 5 or 6 models, you get a great degree of confidence one way or another. And again, it all comes down to the human. You're the one who's ultimately either making or losing money, or succeeding or losing in the public sphere, whatever your business is doing. But no, it's a new age that you can tap into real intelligence that happens to be on a silicon substrate. I think very few people actually understand this. I think way less people understand this than understood Bitcoin at an equivalent point in time, which is both a challenge because nobody knows what they're talking about outside of maybe a dozen people. But it's also a huge opportunity because the thing has been created. AI is real. It has tremendous hardware requirements. And everything moves backward from that, right? The AI is there. The AI is real. Like, does Bitcoin work? Bitcoin is real until quantum computers break it one day. It's a very real and tenable alternative to gold and to the entire fiat banking system, which is why so many people place their confidence in it. But again, the new thing is not Bitcoin. It's not blockchains made by humans. It is super intelligence that you can even run in, nobody ever appreciates what we have going on here, but it's like you can run this from several high-end gaming desktops. Those are Alienware desktops down there. And they're able to run high-end GPT models 24/7 with no internet dependency. So you get total privacy, total strategic privacy and whatnot, which for a lot of companies, both investing companies and law firms, and certainly people in the defense and space industry, you don't want to spill out everything you're working on until you're ready. And so this privacy layer, if there's no internet connection, it's just local intelligence, is absolutely crazy. Again, we're in almost 2026, and it's starting to feel like that. You can tap into a global AI from your Google phone, from your Pixel, and yeah, somebody's saying Alexa is getting AI upgrades. This stuff is really on a crazy trajectory. So I understand the dumb person's argument, but it's also some crazy gimmick. And my Pepsi challenge to you would be use some of these systems. Spend an evening on Google Gemini, google.com/Gemini, and spend, equal amount of time with ChatGPT and, ask it to help you with what you're actually working on in life or in your business. So come to it earnestly, not from a place of worship, nor from a place of kind of retarded thinking it's a demon or something biblical. Just come to it as if you're one of the first people to use a search engine. Nobody else knows what a search engine is. Everybody else is still in the pre-internet era. And here you are just tapping away on Google and you get the answers immediately. That's what AI is today. So a lot of people don't see it yet. We see it at InterSignal, at Fulcrum InterSignal, we see it. And happy to take any other comments. Somebody says they're very happy with Grok lately, Elon Musk's AI service. Yeah, so that's another one that doesn't get a lot of press, right? Musk has his own AI, Grok, and his XAI lab. So you got multiple possible super intelligences that as a random internet user, you can ask these things your questions. It's bigger than a search engine. It's bigger and more capable, but it's 100% the same idea. It's what comes after a search engine 25 years later. And we're there. So again, link in description. Everybody should get the booklet. You can download it instantly. Amazon Kindle, you can read it the same day. Get your own AI companion the same day you read that, because the only thing you have to pay for is the booklet. It's a few bucks. Get the free AI. Yeah, that's it. I think we've addressed all the comments. Thank you guys. God bless.